I think she would have liked the service, especially the sermon.
Yeah. And what a crowd. I got there 10 minutes before the service was supposed to start, and I still had to stand in back the whole time. I didn't know Sally knew that many people.
Some of them were people who knew of her and all of her volunteer efforts.
I didn't realize how active she was in the community. Did you know about all that work she did with the hungry and the homeless? I don't recall her ever mentioning it. And where did she ever find the time? I mean, with a family and a career and caring for her ailing parents and everything?
You know, Sally was never the type of person to call attention to herself. She was just one of those quiet heroes who went about doing what she felt was needed. You know, how Jesus said, when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing so that your giving may be done in secret. Well, that was Sally, a true Christian.
Regardless, that was one impressive turnout. There'll probably be about 8 people at my funeral.
If you're lucky.
Well, I don't know. You might be surprised at how many people's lives you've touched. You know, between your students that you've had over the years, your family and your colleagues and friends. Heck, I might even show up if you provide lunch.
Ha, ha, ha. You know, I still can't accept the finality of it all. That she's never going to come sailing through that door again saying, what a great day it is to be alive. Alive. And now she's not.
But she still lives on in our memories and the good works that she's done, and in her bottomless good cheer. I remember how on rainy days she always forgot her umbrella and rain gear and came in soaking wet and still managed to have a smile on her face.
Remember that goofy yellow shirt she used to wear on Casual Fridays? The one with the guy sitting atop that prickly cactus?
Oh, yeah.
It was from a Dr. Seuss book. She told me the name of it. It was, Have I Ever Told You How Lucky You Are?
Yeah, I used to read that book to my kids. You know, it was a great book about how lucky you should feel no matter what your situation in life, you know, because there's always some people who are worse off than you are. That was Sally, all right.
Well, she's with Jesus now.
I'm sorry, but what does that even mean? She's with Jesus now?
Well, you know, she's with Jesus. Chris, I don't really feel like explaining this to you right now.
No, I'm serious. I know I can be argumentative at times, but really, what are you saying when you say she's with Jesus now? Is it just some kind of expression, or does it actually mean something?
You know, you have a point, Chris. I remember when my daughter was young and she was in preschool and she saw this lifeless cricket on the sidewalk and asked me if the bug was dead. Instead of just saying yes, for some reason I said, it's with Jesus now. And she got a perplexed look on her face and she said, no, he's not. He's right there on the sidewalk.
Exactly. And after everything we've been through and all our little conversations here, are we all still so afraid of death that we can't even say, our friend Sally is dead?
But there's heaven and the resurrection. We have to keep faith that there is something else.
Well, maybe for Sally there is, but all I know is she's not here now and she's not coming back. And by God, I'm going to miss her.
It makes you wonder what it was like for Jesus' disciples on that Saturday after he was crucified. Hadn't been an Easter yet. As far as they knew, Jesus was dead and gone.
You know, and the women who went to his grave on Easter morning, they weren't there to welcome Jesus back to life. They were there to care for his dead body.
But weren't they cowering in fear until Jesus finally revealed himself?
Yeah, they were, but you know what he said to them? Remember, I am with you always to the end of the age.
Huh.
She's with Jesus now. You know, that brings up another problem. Are we to believe that now that she's dead, she's with Jesus? But where was Jesus while she was alive? And where is he right now? Is he just sitting up in heaven waiting for us all to die? Some of us sooner rather than later?
No, Lou, of course not.
I'm just saying.
Well, maybe what I mean is that she is held in Jesus' love, even though we can't hold her ourselves. It doesn't mean Jesus wasn't with her before, or that Jesus isn't with us now. It just means, well, it's like that story, Footprints in the Sand.
Oh, good grief.
Well, Chris, hear me out here. That story, a man is walking along the beach with Jesus, looking back at his life. He takes a moment to look back at his footprints and sees that at the most troubling times in his life, there's only one set of footprints instead of two. He assumes that the one set of footprints is his own, and he angrily asks Jesus where he was when he needed him most. But Jesus explains to him that he was not alone despite what it looked like, because it was during those times that Jesus carried him.
Yeah, well, that's a nice story, but that's all that is. I mean, it's just like saying, she's with Jesus now, or God needed another flower in his garden, or something like that. It's just stuff we say to make life bearable, to help soften the blow of the truth. I mean, we are all going to die, you know. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are, or how old or young, or how sick or how well. Well, even someone as wonderful as Sally can be gone in just the blink of an eye. There's no rhyme or reason for it. And I'm sorry, but stories about footprints in the sand are just more of the same. It's just our feeble attempt at trying to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense.
You know, I've been listening to y'all for some time now, and I've been doing a lot of thinking. Chris, I understand your frustration, you know, but I wonder if death is really the problem. Maybe it's life that's the problem. It seems to me that death might be the only thing that makes sense around here. Yeah, it's completely arbitrary, but it's also completely real. Let me tell you a story. It's a true one. A good friend, a college roommate of mine, was all excited. He was excited to welcome his new grandchild into the world. And when the doctors are doing tests on the baby, they estimated that if the child was born, it was only going to survive for maybe 24 hours at the most. After months of expectation, they would only get 1 day. The parents, the mother's my godchild. She decided to continue the pregnancy, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. That one day, all the baby's family gathered. They gathered in the hospital room, taking turns holding and loving that child. Every minute of that child's life was spent in the arms of someone who loved him. When my friend told me that story, it wasn't that the kid's death that had me shaking my head in disbelief. I was amazed by the love. For some people, it might have made sense, you know, to save themselves all the heartache. But they chose to love him. And I really think God chooses to love us that same way. Every day of our lives, God holds us in his arms. Even after death, he doesn't let us go. I don't know if that's what you mean, Amanda, but I guess I hope that Sally really now knows what it felt like to be that kid in the arms of love forever.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.